You're building a weapon? Close. We're looking for one. Something that was buried in Derry a long time ago. What kind of machine? We don't know everything about it. Where it came from, how it works.
I don't know what I saw. Sounds like you're too scared to talk. You don't know, Ron, what it was like in that place. I can't go through that again, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And I'm sure we both know that's some bullshit!
Hello fellow Mudbeards, Derry fans, and anyone else who found the nightmare sequences in this episode absolutely horrifying. Today we'll be breaking down episode 2 of Welcome to Derry. We get our first official look at an awesome intro sequence that goes through the previous iterations of Pennywise, as well as his previously established massacres, meaning at some point we could even get a season focused on the Ironworks explosion, which I'm super hyped for. Either way, getting into the episode, we get an extended version of the POV shot when Pennywise attacked the kids in the theater, and I really did enjoy how seamless everything flowed together. We see as the Hanlons officially arrive into their new home and establish themselves in town, and it's nice to see, with the story potentially so focused on racism, we don't see too much of it amongst the regular townsfolk. And while there is definitely some here and there, for the most part everyone's friendly upon first glance. At some point, Shauna Hanlon ends up coming across a butcher named Kirsch, which interestingly also happens to be the name of Mrs. Kirsch, that strange old lady that was living in Beverly's old apartment. I don't know if there's any relation there necessarily, but he did seem like a bit of a quirky character and we probably won't see the last of him here. Either way, it seems the majority of the town is mostly afraid of the Soviets. Though, when Shauna does get involved in a kid who's getting beat on, the strange curse Pennywise has inflicted on Derry, where they seem ignorant of any sort of violent or cruel acts, does leave Shauna shining out in the open looking a little bit weird. I like this creative use of Pennywise's curse, and how things like this could be a common occurrence when people come to pass through Derry. Later, when Shauna and Leroy are arguing about what happened and fitting into town, Will calls them out for arguing, and they have a very synchronized response, indicating this probably isn't the first time. We see that Leroy Hanlon's work also becomes a point of conflict for the pair, but we'll get more into his future projects soon. A small side note is some of the transitions in this episode are really strange but creative. From the cement to the river transition, to the throw up and slap transition, very interesting to look at. They take some time developing the kids' dynamic in this episode, which immediately starts off with a bit of tension. It seems unlike the Losers Club, we're gonna have to watch as these kids slowly come together and learn to bond the same way the Losers Club did. That's if they don't get picked off one by one first. Their main point of conflict being who to blame for what happened at the theater that night, which is pretty hard to explain, to be fair. However, by the end of the episode, we see where the decisions these characters make lead them, with Lily throwing Ronnie's dad under the bus in hopes of avoiding going back to Juniper Hill, only to get tormented by Pennywise and end up back there anyways. Speaking of which, those nightmare sequences were pretty brutal. While the pickle scene was a bit gross and fun, I will say Ronnie's nightmare sequence really got under my skin. I don't know, to me it seemed like a more hellish version of the Butterfly Effect's ending. But either way, let's go ahead and touch on some of the theories I have. I'm beginning to wonder, with this episode's theme of finding blame in something tragic, and Pennywise's more violent acts getting swept under the rug, and sort of covered up as something else, if there's a chance with the upcoming Black Spot Massacre and its relation to racism, is it possible that racism won't actually be the biggest part to play in everything that goes down? We already know Pennywise is likely to be there per the books and the show's trailers. So what if this is more of a massacre of the military who are going after Pennywise? It seems the military is utilizing Dick Halloran's abilities with the Shine. It looks like with Halloran's ability, he'll be able to grasp onto different historical objects and bear witness to different events that took place in the past. This could also help show us some of the massacres or events that went down involving Pennywise that wouldn't really fit stretched out into a TV series with multiple episodes. This could be a way to show off what actually happened with the Bradley Gang massacre, and maybe just simply dedicate an entire episode to Halloran witnessing that. To pinpoint different beacons all around Derry, all the hopes of finding something that is causing so much fear to anybody who gets near it. Fear that they hope to weaponize themselves. Key aspect in this plan, seeing as this thing presumably defends itself with fear, is to find a man without fear, which is where Leroy Hanlon will come in. Though, as dope as Leroy is as a character, I doubt he's truly without fear. We see a shot in the trailers of Leroy in the sewers finding what appears to be Charlotte. This could be a vision set up by Pennywise, or it could be Pennywise haunting Leroy with recent events. I also thought before the season had started that the military would accidentally stumble upon Pennywise when trying to do something else entirely, but I really enjoy the fact that their story directly ties to trying to capture Pennywise in general. But can you really weaponize an eldritch being? See, it, or Pennywise as I keep referring to them as, is a being older than humanity itself, with eldritch and cosmic-like properties. In this scenario, you'd have to not only find a way to contain it, and the only form we've seen able to do that so far is the ritual of Chud, which doesn't work if not everyone's in full belief, and then find a way to keep it on some sort of proverbial leash, so that when you do release it, it doesn't just simply go back to doing whatever it does, which is causing massacres and wreaking havoc. No, in my opinion, considering the stories being told backwards chronologically, we'll likely see some of the setups for this entire military plan in previous seasons or future seasons, and this is sort of the culmination of a storyline in humanity's best efforts in stopping Pennywise. Maybe season 2 will end with a character escaping and potentially trying to warn people of what Pennywise is, but the longer they're away and explaining things, the more it just becomes a source of fear, rather than any rational explanation. It looks like their goal is to find these beacons in the hopes of pinpointing Pennywise's exact location. We can see in the promos for the weeks ahead that they take one of the natives and seem to use him in some way. This leads to them referencing how they'll keep everything locked down. This same native was first shown in this episode, watching over the military digging through the ground, digging into where they eventually find one of the beacons. But I have the theory that these aren't actually beacons, but instead totems meant to imprison Pennywise or at least limit his power and capabilities. I believe these were placed by natives in certain spots around Derry as a failsafe to sort of limit what Pennywise could actually do. But is it to stop Pennywise altogether? There's two potential options here. Potentially, as the military stated, they already removed several of these totems, leading to the Pennywise deaths we've seen so far within the series, meaning placing these totems back is how you stop Pennywise, but that doesn't really add up with the mythos of Pennywise returning every 27 years. What I'm presuming is that in actuality, Pennywise's capabilities are much higher than we know. As we see when he takes on the Losers Club is he usually traps a kid in a nightmare of some kind, before either taking them out or letting them go. But as we've seen in the trailer shots for this show, there is a mysterious fog that takes over all of Derry, along with several bodies floating in the sky, meaning the havoc Pennywise is wreaking this time around is a bit larger in scale. So my personal theory is that by the end of this season, the military will likely be taken out, and the artifacts will be placed back in their certain spots so that anytime Pennywise comes back every 27 years, he's not as powerful or capable in doing the things he was that we'll see in this series. As in this series, he does seem to be a bit more aggressive and violent, which we should have expected considering the first episode of the show where he killed off multiple characters. But speaking of which, I have a final theory that one of these characters could actually still be alive. See, if you watch that sequence carefully, we know for a fact that Teddy and likely Susie got taken down by Pennywise. However, when it comes to Phil, all we really saw was him get tackled over. Later on in this episode, we see as Lily's getting haunted in the grocery store, as all the previous confirmed dead Pennywise victims decay on the cereal boxes. All except for Phil. Is it possible at some point while journeying into the sewers they'll end up finding Phil? And is it also possible that Phil could end up being possessed and murderous, similar to how the Bowers were in the It films? Either way, it seems we haven't really seen the last of his character. Let me know what you guys think. Is Phil alive? Is the military going to be capable enough to weaponize Pennywise? And is it even wise in the first place? Either way, appreciate your support, appreciate the feedback, and remember, don't blame your friend's dad for Pennywise killing all your friends. Have a good one, y'all.
See, humans
All of the tunnels are underground,
are a unique type of pest, multiplying,
where none of the children will ever be found.
poisoning our world, all while enforcing a structure of their own. A deeply unnatural structure.
They wandered away to join
Everyone
the show
is just
and lost their way in the world
waiting
below.
for it all to be over. A cruel, a oppressive world dictated by made-up rules.
Join the circus of laughter now.
Don't be afraid.
Each life, a faded, lesser copy of the one before. Wake up, eat, work, sleep, reproduce, and die.
There is nothing you can't do to stop this now. Hawkins will burn and fall, and the rest of this senseless, broken world will look low.